Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 55 of my Gateway Experience. Thank you for tuning in to my channel and welcome. The Gateway Experience is a series of, if you're not familiar with it, it's a series of 6 waves with 6 tapes in each wave. And I am currently on the second wave, and it's entitled Threshold, and I am on the first tape of that wave, and that one is called. Actually, I'm not on the first tape now. I'm on the second tape now, and that one is called Problem Solving. And today was the second time doing that second tape, and I'm going to be doing it for a total of 10 times. And the Gateway Experience is really, if I was to explain it in not such technical terms, it is a tool set, a set of tools in the form of tapes. And these tapes have different resonant frequencies to uh, enhance our hemispheric synchronization. Uh, that is to say, the hemispheres in our brain. And we do that in order to achieve balance or equilibrium. And the reason why we do that is to achieve self-mastery. So there are tools for self-mastery. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, go ahead and check those out because this experience builds upon itself. It's all about discovering and then going on a threshold of change and then eventually doing even more later, exploring and all of that. So if you want to get a feel for what this is about, go ahead and check those out, and let's jump right into it. Right now, it's October 18th, 2022, and it is 9:03 a.m. This morning, we woke up at 7 a.m., and it was a good morning. Went ahead and did my morning routine and did my tape for problem solving. And for today, I could talk about the vision that I saw, but I want to talk more about how I'm feeling and the way that I'm feeling because I I went on Facebook and yeah, so the way I feel is not good. It's just so stupid to go on Facebook because I guess the people that I follow are just way further ahead in their journey than I am, right? So it just makes me feel like I'm not good enough. And we've talked about that before. So that's such a bad thing to do. And it's just unfortunate that that's what happens when I go on Facebook. I would like to be able to go on Facebook to socialize and to um, be able to add value or these kinds of things. But that's what they say. It's comparison is the thief of joy, and I just wanted to say that right off the bat. And so now that I got that off my chest, I can go ahead and talk a little bit about the visions that I had in um, my Focus 12 practice. Because really, it's all about problem solving and the problem that I proposed. And first of all, before I go there, we have to understand that we are more than our physical bodies. And the more is greater than we could ever imagine. That means that we have an unlimited, untapped creative resource within us. So that is called our subconscious, superconscious, or our total self, or whatever you want to call it, full awareness. And that is where our ideas come from, where our dreams come from when we go to sleep. And you could say that this was a dream, but it wasn't really because I was fully aware and fully awake, not for the full time, but for quite a bit of it. And then I kind of lost focus. But I did my pre preparation process, and then I did my resonant tuning. My pre preparation process includes the resonant tuning and everything else. So I'm not going to keep talking about it like that. You can go back to some of my videos and watch how I started and how I went through all of those experiences and described my feelings and built up to where I am now. So, but it's called the pre-preparation process, and we go into focus 10. Then from focus 10, I was able to go into focus 12 quite nicely. I felt pretty good about it. I was fully in control. Then while I was in focus 12, I started to propose the question first. Before that, I want to talk about how to be really fully present, you have to clear your mind. So that's the purpose of the energy conversion blocks. Now, I wasn't fully successful at doing that because later on in my practice, things came up, but that's okay. You just put them back in the energy conversion blocks. Because when we have that clear mind of no thought, really, and it's not easy to achieve that for a lot of people at first. I know in their journey, they're like bogged down by all this stuff that they're focusing on, all these worries, anxieties, and concerns. But that's why we use our energy conversion blocks. And if you don't know what that is, go back and check out those videos that I made on that. But when I was in my focus 10, I was finally able to reach that state. And even in focus 12, I was finally able to reach that state after putting things in my energy conversion blocks. And I just wanted to clarify and reinforce that it's so important for us to be aware of that our mind is cluttered with so many different things because like I've said in I think my previous video and the one before, it's where our attention goes that our energy flows. So we can find ourselves pulled apart and really drained by all these things that don't even have anything to do with where we want to go. And so finally I was able to clear everything out. And then as I sat there, the position that I made, and that was after one cycle. It took me like a whole cycle because he has us do it 3 times of reinforcing the problem by throwing it out into our subconscious, superconscious mind, and then seeing what answers come up. And we do that the same problem 3 times. So the problem that I proposed is the same one as yesterday. And the first time I couldn't clear my mind, but the second and third time worked well, so that was good. And and so the second time, I went ahead and had a full clear mind and proposed the problem of how do I make $300 a day in passive income? And the answer that I got was in a full-on vision of this storefront. And I was a little confused at first because I didn't know what I was looking at. I just saw, well, first I was walking through a church, and as I was walking through this church, there was like a monster. It was a Catholic church. That's my upbringing. So it was kind of like a plaza. It was outside of the church, and there was like pillars and all these things that, like a terrace type of thing. And there was people playing and getting together and all this stuff. And then out of the corner here comes like this monstrosity. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it was like if it was a person, like a morbidly obese person that was crawling like a baby, like a morbidly obese with tumors all over their body, fully in a brown onesie, right? And they were like crawling towards me. I know this sounds crazy, but I was able to fully I just wanted to mention that before because that was the first vision that I had, and then the second one that I had because I was able to just diffuse that situation. I was like, dude, go away. I know you're crawling towards me and everything, but I was just like, let me just switch the scene. So I was just like, no, you can't come near me. I already said in my affirmation, I stated that I was asking for protection and for anything that would offer me something that was less than what I stated in my desires. So that was like easy for me to just go into the next scene. But when I went to the next scene, I was like I didn't know what I was looking at, but it was like how do I start this? How did it begin? Because it was a full-on story, and it started out I think with the son. So there was a son, and he was making I think pizza, and he was just there getting the bread and the dough and kneading it and doing all these things that you do with pizza, getting the ingredients together. And I think he was having an argument with his dad, and they were just kind of going back and forth. But then eventually everything kind of calmed down. They went to work and everything was going smoothly. They were having customers come in, customers come out, and then the daughter, the younger daughter, came in and she was obviously late. She might have been the reason why they were arguing at the beginning. But she pretended like she wasn't late, and she came in. She jumped over. Um, she went by her older brother, and she jumped over something, and then she came around, and she went to like the front of her dad to kind of see if he was going to react and get mad at her for being late, and he didn't. He was super calm and super relaxed. It was just like, hey, how are you doing? You know, and she came in and she just kind of jumped back over behind the counter. So she kind of came in as a customer here, and then she jumped back over the counter to be an employee again, and then employee, you know, but she's really just working with her family and for her family. So it's completely different from being an employee. So, but but yeah, and so I knew at that point, being the observer in that vision, I knew that the best way to solve that situation would be at the end of the day to have that conversation with the daughter for being late and not make a scene in front of all the customers and everything. So that was my vision, and that was the bulk of my experience this morning. I don't know what to tell you because I don't have any interest in pizza making. I don't have any interest in having a physical storefront. But I do want to have some kind of shop where I made a video here recently, yesterday, where I made the intention of a website that I want to create. But that was one answer to my question of like, okay, but they're still working, so that doesn't really answer my question fully. So I don't know. That was an interesting scene. But the good news is that I'm going to be doing this for a total of 10 times, and I'm going to be proposing the same problem to see what kinds of solutions I receive from my total self here. So that was today's practice. I hope that gives you guys some kind of insight into what's going on in my mind. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Other than that, I started it out by talking about comparison as a thief of joy. And I think that's so true. That's part of the reason why we have to wear our sunglasses at night. Has not at night. That's just one of the songs that I listen to. But anyway, during the day and everything else, because all subliminals. Uh, the movie They Live goes through this. Is a great allegory of you know, you go on Facebook and immediately you see these people throwing out these kinds of figures, and there's an emotional attachment because we're all brainwashed into thinking that money is important, and it's not. Money is made up. It's a figment of our imagination, literally. And there are things that we possess, like I own a car, and I own this computer, and I own this webcam, Logitech webcam that I've got, and I own all these things that are in this room, but I don't own the house because I'm renting. So somebody else owns it. So I'm paying him this imaginary form of exchange of value that we agree upon for me to be able to live here until I buy a house. And so yeah, it's uh, it's made up, and it makes us feel all these because of the things that it allows us to do. You know, it allows me to have this shelter, and it allows me to purchase my computer and purchase these things, but ultimately it's made up. And I just want to keep that in mind as I'm like focusing on money, because if I all of a sudden look at like my goal is $300 a day, and I'm looking at people making like 48,000 in a month, you know, like that makes me feel like my goal is not good enough. But that's not true because my goal is my goal and it has nothing to do with anybody else. So, yeah, it's always, we got to keep our mind guarded and not allow it to fall into deep parts of our subconscious, because then it'll drive our behavior, and that is something that we do not want. I have to stay the course and do what I'm doing because of the vision that I have set forth and that I know that I can achieve. And if I can have people help me with that vision, I would love to receive all the help that I can get. I just wouldn't be able to give you any money right now. So that is what it is. But I will continue to give everything that I can. That's why I'm creating my website, to make presentations on the things, the information that I have related to business and really related to communication with other humans. mainly how to be an effective buyer, which nobody ever taught me. I've never seen anybody teach any course of how to be an effective buyer. When you're going out and looking to purchase things, and communicating with other humans, how do you guard yourself so that they don't make it seem like this thing is just so much more valuable than it may not be? And how do you check to see if it is as valuable as they say it is as a buyer? What I mean by that is asking effective questions. But I'm going to be talking about that later on in my website, and also how to do operations, how to basically run day-to-days of a business, um, and how to communicate and sell effectively, how to integrate a vision, how to visualize. These are the 5 things that are the most important when it comes to running a business. And I'm going to be giving people my information, everything that I've learned so far, my humble life. I'm not an expert. I'm not saying that I know everything, but I can at least give what I do have. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And so, yeah, that's gonna be it. This kind of episode got intermingled between another video that I made and this, but it's part of my journey. You know, even though this is the gateway experience, this is part of my journey, and this is part of my gateway. This is part of my way through the gate. You know, so of our physical experience, and yeah, you know, when you go on a website, you see like Gateway Error 101 or whatever it is sometimes, but you won't see any of those with my website because I'll have it up and running. But anyway, this is a longer video, just kind of telling you guys about my life, so, and my feelings as well. So yeah, I just want to share as much as I can, and hopefully you guys get some value out of this. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Peace.